Hiya to children's Mr Yeardsley in the nest today to finish off Dick Kingsmith's book, The Guard Dog. Didn't end in a very nice way, did it? Because I found out after 14 days the dogs had to go to the vet and something not very nice happened to them. On to chapter 4 now, though. "Oh, thanks," said the manager of the dog's home when one of his kennel maids brought his cup of coffee at 11 o'clock the next morning. He looked up from his record book. "Shame about the little titchy one in number 25, he said. "You don't mean," said the kennel maid. "Afraid so. If things had been slack, we could have kept him longer, but the way dogs are pouring in, we must keep the 2-week rule. He's one for the vet today." "Oh dear," said the kennel maid. "He's such a lovely little fellow. Dozens of people fell for him until he opens his mouth," said the manager. "I know, it's a pity, but you can't blame them. It's all our long years of experience of every sort of dog. I've never come across one with such a dreadful voice. Nobody could possibly live with that. Though, talking about other burglar alarms, any burglar would run a mile if he heard that hullabaloo. And you wouldn't need to dial 999, they'd hear it at the nearest police station. Easy." The guard dog ate a hearty breakfast and was a little surprised when the kennel maid came to clean him out his run, and the fuss she made of him. She cuddled and stroked and kissed him as if she'd never see him again. Then he remembered what the smelly old terrier had said. "This is the 14th day," he thought. "Great, someone will pick me out today." He sat waiting for the time when the public were admitted, determined that today, of all days, he'd leave no one in any doubt as to the quality of his greatest asset. Other guard dogs, he supposed, might act in other ways, by looking large and fierce, which he could not, or by leaping up and planting their feet on the shoulders of burglars and such like and knocking them flat, which he most certainly could not. He had only his voice, and when the door to the kennel block opened, he let rip fortissimo. This means very, very loudly. No one even got to smiling at him that morning. Everybody kept as far away as possible from the dreadful sounds issuing from number 25 and concentrated upon the other inmates. The guard dog was left strictly alone. When at last the batch of would-be owners had left, some with new companions, some empty-handed, all mightily relieved to reach the comparative peace and quiet of the busy roaring street outside, the guard dog sat silent once more, and there was a puzzled look on his extremely small and hairy face. "Can't understand it," he thought. "Nobody seems to want a decent guard dog. But if 14 days was the limit, they'd jolly well have to find him somewhere to go today. Perhaps the man in the white coat would take him too. He seems a nice sort of chap." He watched the door to the kennel block. It was not the man in the white coat who came in, but the kennel maid, with a man with white hair who walked with a stick with a rubber tip to it. "Would you like to come round with you?" the kennel maid said, but he didn't answer her, so she went away and left him alone. The old man walked slowly along the row of kennels, looking carefully into each with sharp blue eyes. At last he came to number 25. Outside the door the kennel maid stood, listening, her fingers tightly crossed. But then she heard that fearful noise start up, and she shook her head sadly. Oh dear, he's making his hullabaloo again, isn't he? She went back into the kennel block to find the old man squatting on his heels. There was a grin on his face as he looked apparently totally unmoved at the howling, bawling, yowling, squalling guard dog. He levered himself to his feet. "I'll have this little fellow," he said firmly. "He's the boy for me." And about all that noise he makes. Wonder why he's happy with that. "Oh, good!" cried the kennel maid. "He's lovely, don't you think?" But the old man didn't answer. He didn't reply later either when he had paid for the guard dog, and the kennel maid said, "Would you like a box to carry him in?" And in answer to the manager's question, "What are you going to call him?" he only said, "Good afternoon." Light suddenly dawned on the manager of the dog's home's face. He stood directly in front of the guard dog's new owner so as to be sure of catching his eye, and he said deliberately, in a normal tone, "That's some dog you've got there. The worst voice in the world." The old man put his hand up to his ear. "Sorry," he said, "didn't catch that. I'm as deaf as a post and I can't be bothered with those hearing aid things. Never been able to get on with them. What did you say?" "That's some dog you've got there. The best choice in the world," said the manager very loudly. The white-haired old man only smiled, leaning on his stick with one hand and cradling his purchase in the other. There he is. The manager shouted as loudly as he could, "He's a dear little chappie." "See that he's really happy?" said the old man. "Of course I will. You needn't worry about that. We'll be as happy as two peas in a pod." He fondled the puppy's extremely hairy ears. "Funny," he said. "I fell for him, though he wasn't exactly what I was looking for. I live all on my own, you see, so really it would have been more sensible to get a guard dog." The end. I wonder if he'll get to be a guard dog when he goes to his new owners, even though his new owner won't quite realise it with his loud voice. Hope you enjoyed the story year 2. I'll be reading you another story with some chapters in next week. In the meantime, have a lovely weekend, and remember, if you see someone without a smile, give them one of yours, and take care, everyone.